Today with Curtis, and if you'll notice, this is an older school replay because we have the Warhounds replacing the SCVs. So this is from quite some time ago, but this is going to be a good replay nonetheless. This is spawning here in the top right corner. It is the the Blue Zerg, Liquid.Ret.
And in the bottom left, we have our red Protoss player playing for the team Root. His name is Sage. Playing from the NS Hoso house, unless this was from an actual tournament, but we do see that Sage already has a probe going. Oh, Warhound probe. I don't know what to call it, but it's going out in the map and it's just gonna chill in the natural.
I'm gonna say, by the way, we don't know the result of this game. I pulled some replays out, ones that I heard were good but old, but I was very specifically for a while looking for ones that came from April 1st because that was, for those who don't know, the day that the Warhound kind of made an appearance for StarCraft 2. Every single worker in the game was reskinned as a Warhound for a joke. And for those who don't know, Warhounds were units taken out of the game by Blizzard because they were a little too good for Terran.
Yep. Well, but apparently, going back to your April 1st comment, ROOT.Sage apparently understood the meaning of April 1st and April Fool's Day. Yeah, the shenanigans of it all. I see, guys, we do have a proxy gateway.
Now this is only one, so I'm wondering if it's like this would in any other situation be like a Cybercore follow-up to this, but there's no gas taken yet. So I'm a little curious on the thought process of only putting one gate down. Now, of course, you can do quite a bit of damage with one Zealot, especially, wow, actually, Sage doing a lot of harass here.
Well, he also is sending a... Okay, so we are just going to have a slow wall off. He finally gets down his second pylon, so then he could add on a cybernetics core once he gets a gas, or a gateway wall off. But yeah, as you said, that probe is trying to do plenty of harassment, trying to break up the mineral line. That way, there's less minerals for the speedlings or lings that are going to come out with.
Yeah, and Red's not happy with this. I mean, he just finished going down, looking to move out and put that hatchery down, and I mean, okay, he had already started his pool, so it's not like he was going to be super late off of this, but he knows, like, all right, look, here comes that first Zealot. You can drone troll all day, but it's still going to get some kills.
And here we go. Here's that Zealot coming in, trying to get a soon kill. Not yet. We do have some weakened drones, though.
This is really smart out of Sage, though. Look at the way he's trying to hug into the mineral patch. He doesn't want to get surrounded by these drones. Because, of course, like I said, you'll lose some, but you can kill that Zealot. And if Sage loses the Zealot, the whole presence, the power behind this proxy becomes completely lost.
It completely nullifies that. And we do see a forge as the next building that's going to get down. So, apparently...
If Sage oh my goodness, Curtis, if Sage follows this up with at least a cannon down here, I'm going to just be the happiest camper in the world.
It's in more than one way, right? Camping?
Yeah. Actually, it looks like he might just do that with the pylon behind the mineral lines. He does set himself nicely to put a cannon with very minimized surface area. Now, Red's got a lot of lings that just finished popping in. While speed's not available, you don't really need it to overwhelm Protoss units.
Yeah, but speed won't even matter when you have a wall of Zealots. Now, he has been able to kind of stagger those Zealots thanks to his Queen, trying to rain down some shots, but... there's speedy. Lings are gonna run by. Yeah, they're gonna head for the main.
That's the smart choice. But over here we already have the forge up. Sage can just wall this off with a cannon if he does it right freaking now. Red's actually in an okay spot. He's got a Roach Ward now on the way. He managed to slip past those Zealots. He's actually pulling half of them home.
He's gonna lose an Overlord. Oh wow, that was really close.
4 health, yeah.
Yeah. But we do see that there's still 3 Zealots at the front. Red's playing this nice and calm, though, which is really nice to see from a high-end player.
Yeah, this is such a panic situation for anybody else.
Yeah. And wow, that's actually a full wall-off? I didn't know that. Cybernetics core and a forge.
Yeah, it's got only command center in the racks, but the one downside is he doesn't have cannon up. Now, these Zealots are actually going to kill a lot of lings, but they're not going to kill all of the lings. So there we go, cannon now going down. Sage kind of realized, like, okay, this is maybe not going to work if I don't get something up. And that Cybercore, I don't know, by the time the cannon's going to take to build, it might go down. No,
not with only 4 lings popping at it. Well, it might die once the cannon's up, but... Oh, here we go. But we do also see at the natural, the Queen is pushing forward with 2 Roaches behind. Zealots are actually going to go after the Queen.
Yeah, but off creep, despite being slow, he does get surrounded by those lings, and once again, those... Oh, the Cybercore home did fall. Lings run right past the cannon.
Queen! As you said, we do have lings that were able to get into the main. Only 3, though, so we can kill those with the probes, but we also saw the Queen go down to 14 health back in the natural, and the Sentry actually blocking off the majority of the force.
The force field. This is a wild game, to say the least. Now, looks like at home the lings were cleaned up, I'm imagining, by the workers uniting, going for a bit of a citizen's arrest, but Man, Sage, I can't believe how much he's dedicated to this. I mean, let's do a quick mineral count. He lost the cannon. He's got 2 more cannons. Oh, I just canceled that one. He's got 2 pylons, this gateway. This is so many resources invested to making Ret play off of 1 base. The big question is, was this advantageous? I don't think so. I mean, they're on equal worker counts at this point. Sage has lost so much to maintain this, and now Ret's got roaches.
But I think the one thing that, while that is true, he does have a better army-wise. Sage now does have... Ret never went up to layer, so Ret doesn't even have a tech lead. So he just has these roaches, which are good in a straight-up fight, but you don't want roaches battering at a wall all day. And also, we do have Warp Gate now on the way, and if he drops down like 2, 3, 4 more Warp Gates, it'll be very hard for Ret to have the economy to hold off a 4-gate, or even maybe he gets a expansion up.
Pausing the thought on that for a second about 4-gate, one thing, and this kills me because this is such a day 9 thing to say, but a Dark Shrine would maybe be not too bad in this situation because, I mean, both players playing from so desperately far behind, that means Ret can't really afford to invest in, like, preemptive detectors. He's not going to have overseers on the field early on.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're both wrong as he decides to walk the path of the robotics facility.
Yeah.
But Immortals are always a good unit. Also, it's nice to see this Mothership Core out already in position to intercept these roaches. So these roaches, they've got a time clock, and yeah, they're just going to leave. But do see now, looks like Sage might posture get that natural finally.
Yeah, this hurts. Both players need to expand, and Ret has been able to do that, but Sage still stuck locked in with his base because, as stated, he doesn't have that army. He can't really... I mean, this Mothership Core is not going to stop 5 roaches, 6 roaches from killing a Nexus.
No, but it does... Yeah, once he just needs to get a wall down and that Nexus down, so it'll be interesting to see how he wants to play it out between the Nexus and the Forge wall that he needs. Cannon wall.
God, it is so weird looking at these Warhounds. It is so surreal, but this is so cool at the same time.
Yeah, I like that they did that though for just for April Fool's Day, you know.
Well, this to me brings up the whole topic of skin sales. Like League of Legends, Dota 2, they both do it, where there's sort of this not really pay to win element, but there is a pay to play in the or not even pay to play. Sorry, what am I saying here? Microtransactions is what I meant to say, because it's all aesthetics. There's no, like, you're not going to win a game because you have Warhound looking SCVs or drones or probes, but it makes the game cooler. And I tell you, Curtis, I'm not a guy with a lot of money. I would totally dump $10 on a skin for an SCV.
The only skin I would ever have an issue so far, though, is the Ling skin. Because if you've ever... Ling versus Ling battles get a little bit ridiculous with all those wings, so it would also be nice to, like, turn off your opponent's skins, you know? So that way you don't have to see his skins.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, dude, why should they care if I can see that they have Warhound SCVs or not? Like, that's your own.
You got the Terrace, you got the Thor for the collector's editions. I mean,
yeah,
it's cool things. But alright, like, getting back into this, we got a Spire coming out of Ret, and I actually really like this choice because while Sage is getting a Stargate, unless you've got 2 Stargates on the field, you're not gonna hold Mutalisks very effectively. Even with a lot of Stalkers, Mutalisks in mass kind of win.
Yeah. But the one thing that we have on Sage's side is he decided to throw down a Stargate as a follow-up. So while we do have to worry about potential of mass muta, at least he has the possibility of fighting that off with a lot of Phoenixes. It wasn't until recently that people realized that if you just get enough Corruptors out in control, well, even Phoenixes have trouble with that style of a battle because Phoenix Voidray does not have the same speed of movement that Muta Corruptor has.
And I do want to point out something cool. This isn't a big deal because Ret is a pro, but Sage actually hallucinated an Oracle. And, you know, normally people just do a Phoenix, it's whatever, it's fast, it's in the base, but the Oracle, sometimes, not always, but rarely, if a Zerg player sees it coming, they'll preemptively pull their drones to run away from it. So, Ret, keeping a cool head, maybe he didn't even notice, I don't know, either way, it didn't faze him in the slightest, but Ling's gonna come around here and surround this Immortal, Curtis, actually ignoring the Immortal for some reason, he's gonna go for the Sentries instead, not a bad choice.
But he's good force fields there, was able to get majority of the Lings out. Now some Lings are chasing after the other sentries. Oh, we do finally
nice
have a
warp
full
in.
wall. Good wall off.
Yeah, that sentry getting warped in the perfect place at just the right time.
Roaches.
Yeah, the Photon Overcharge and the Immortal standing, these roaches can't push in here. Liquid.Ret is just throwing units away, but they're those Beetles I was talking about. However, as we see, Sage threw down a second Stargate, and a lot of Phoenixes, even with poor control, win against Mutalisks every time.
Oh yeah, there's a reason why it's called a unit counter in the game, and we do see a fleet beacon now coming out.
If he
So
adds
we will
Onion
see
Pulse
the
Crystals,
extended range. Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be really nice. Because of course, Mutalisks, they have the trouble already with dealing Phoenixes, but Corruptors, you can actually outrange Corruptors with that upgrade, guys. It's weird to consider, but that's the truth. And we do see these Phoenixes chasing the Mutalisks across the field, and Sage is gonna be actually really happy to catch this many units for free.
Yeah, that's a lot of minerals and gas that was just invested. We also see another 100 just went into Zerg Flyer attacker, and so that's just more gas and minerals that could have been used elsewhere. Now we do see some good micro on both sides, but we also see the third. It looks like that Sage is about to pick up.
You know, this is actually really scary for Ret. Look at this. His overlords are very vulnerable. Yes, the Mutalisks are flying around, but if Sage just keeps massing Phoenixes and takes out every single overlord, Ret won't even be able to make Corruptors. He won't be able to make Hydralisks to take these down.
He just will be able to keep constantly powering through it. Especially that comment about the Hydras is one I find to be very funny and interesting, is how the Hydras actually take more damage from Phoenixes than normal because of the armament type. Yeah, so I kind of find that a little bit funny and interesting that they're supposed to be unit counters, but Phoenixes do more damage to them. So,
well, I think a big part of that is the fact that the Phoenixes have to stop attacking to lift it up. So I think Blizzard's like, yeah, it's okay. We could get away with that.
We could just throw that.
You know what? As good as Phoenixes are, one thing they are not good against is swells of Lings, and Ret is making a ton of them. Yes, he's getting the Hydralis upgrades behind all this, but Phoenixes, they can't pick up 40 Lings. You just can't keep up with that. Not to mention the Mutalisks as well, so this third base is probably going to get cancelled, quite frankly.
Yeah, we do also see 1-1 is now on the way for Ret, so as you said, the swell of Lings is going to prevent this third from being up, and it's also potentially going to take out these sentries, but that Hydra follow-up is going to force Sage to have to get out some more Robotech style units if he wants to eventually secure this third.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to hold what's here, but all the sentries but two. Actually, only one remaining now at this point. Are sniped off. He might even lose his last one, which is desperately trying to connect to it, but they do get lifted up, and I don't know, like, losing those sentries is a big deal. Having that energy saved up, he actually picks up the sentry to save it. Curtis, what the heck?
Sick micro. Sick micro. We do see that the Immortals just kind of shot away at those roaches. Immortals doing what they do best, but as we keep looking, now we see that Hydra transition because he did lower down the amount of units, so he's been focused on Gateway and Immortal production, which just kind of dies to Hydras.
You know, Hydras to me are kind of like, you've got Ultralists, which are the anti-ground unit for just about every race. Hydras are kind of the anti-gateway unit. Like, there's just nothing that comes out of the gateway that deals with the Hydras effectively. Immortals don't even touch them that well either. You really need, like, Colossus or, like, mass amounts of Void Rays to really deal with huge numbers of them.
Huge numbers. We have seen, though, in the past that very good Protosses, if they get the Hydras at small enough numbers, can do great with Sentries and Zealots, but that's just not the numbers in this situation. And Ret kind of pushed in there. Maybe not have the mass that he wants just yet, nor the positioning as he's trying to push up a ramp versus Protoss, especially the force fields, as they can just kind of cut apart the army.
Now, one thing I'm a little worried about here is this Phoenix count is still... It hasn't been touched at this point, Curtis. They've been doing a lot of damage, and yeah, they're low, but that's that shield, man. It just keeps regenerating. These Overlords, like I said earlier, oh my god, will he get a bunch?
Baby.
He could slaughter all of them. The Hydras are on the other side of the field. They don't have muscular augments just yet, so he can't even shoot around. It just kicks in, but he's going to go offensive.
Yeah, and but the one thing that Sage has going against him at the moment is, well, yes, you could take out a lot of Overlords. We do see a lack of upgrades now from Sage, as it's 0-0 versus a potential 2-2 on the way.
That is a huge point. Thank you for pointing that out, Chris. I did miss that, but I mean, look at the supply problems here for Ret he's going to run into. He's already had to remake a bunch of Overlords. He's not quite been blocked yet because he overmade a lot, but I think that was in anticipation of these Phoenixes.
Yeah, we do see another battle at the third, but once again, he just keeps picking off Overlords, and now he has to start making more, as we do see that Ret's fallen below 200 supply. Not by much, one Overlord, but still one Overlord is a roach that's not being made, and we see another 2 Overlords getting picked off.
This is gonna just suck if you let Sage get out hand like this, because between Photon Overcharge and Force Fields, there's no way for Ret to break this. His army's going to be cut into a quarter every single time and just picked away at. And eventually, these Phoenixes will be able to come around and start picking up the Hydralisks, and when there's no Hydralisks left, the end of the Roaches is going to be nigh.
Yeah, but the one thing that Ret has not done yet that he still could do if he wanted to really break this position rather than trying to force it into a fight in the midfield. As we do see another engagement, good force fields down, good pickup by the Phoenixes, segmenting some of the Hydras away.
Oh my god, Ret is getting slaughtered here is what this boils down to. And because of like the loss of Larva, I mean, the queen was picked up and actually wasn't killed, but the inject's probably a little bit far behind as we see a lot of energy on some of these queens. Red is actually doing, I take that back, Red's doing an amazing job with injects. A lot of these queens are actually down on energy, just that one I had looked at earlier.
Yeah, I would like to see Ret go for Baneling drops though here in this situation now. He hasn't seen any Colossi at all. He hasn't seen very many Stalkers, and Baneling drops would actually be the thing that would kill off the majority of these units because the Hydras would range the Phoenixes behind the Overlords so that they would stay safe until the very last second.
I agree with that point, Curtis, but we finally have those Phoenixes being picked out, but I want to point out, look at the resources lost tab here for just 1 second.
What?
That's I mean, huge. That is absurd. But that's the cost of Ret throwing his army away in the south like that. But the good thing for Ret at this point, the Phoenixes are now pretty much non-existent. Yes, Sage is remaking them, but for the time being, he's got this window of opportunity where he can breathe. But oh no, those force fields again and a time warp. He's trying to come in behind with 2 Roaches. Not really the best flank.
Oh, the Mothership Core is so low, but finally the Hero Colossus coming in at the last second. It's going to drive this army back, and with an overwhelming number of Immortals as well, so Roaches just
Phoenix
are not the unit of choice.
Well.
Phoenix is doing work. They're doing that lifted, brah.
More than anything else, I really wish Ret would have started incorporating some Vipers with his army. At this point, with the amount of force fields he's had to deal with, forget the Colossus, forget the Immortals for a second, start abducting the Sentries, man, because this is just not working out for him the way he's doing. You can't root force with Roach Hydra.
Yeah, and I think this is one stylistic issue that Ret has faced in the past, is he just eventually, he's so good and used to macroing large number of units out that he ends up trying to brute force sometimes too much.
And, you know, we talked about this upgrade probably being problematic for Sage, but I mean, Ret with a massive upgrade lead still can't even take on this army. I mean, the Immortals are still standing. There's 4 of them, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's the power of the Immortal, ladies and gentlemen. It sits back there and it just dishes out DPS.
Aptly named, I guess, for this game, but I mean, okay, he lost his 5th base, but he's already on 4, and that was nice before, except Sage also has 4, and you never want to be on even bases with a Protoss player. Your economy is a Zerg. Like, a lot of people, the whole point of a Zerg force is they're mobile, and you can afford to throw away units, but Ret is throwing away a little too many units.
I don't, and Sage has been expertly just trading. And not necessarily getting rid of units, but trading perfectly, because he's been trading cost efficiently, as we saw when we looked at that resources lost tab, and at the rate that this is going, Sage will just bowl over this army once he maxes out.
I want to point, we also have a very Liquid.Ret amount of drones currently on the field, 90. I mean, that's really going to be hurting his army count when he's trying to take on these Immortals and head-on even fights. I mean, if he could have an extra 4 or 5 Hydralisks even, it could be a big deal, but oh, it does bait the force fields this time, finally engaging the army the way he needs to. Bait out that energy, back off, bait out the energy, back off, and then hit somewhere else.
I do wish... Yeah, continue.
I was just saying, that's all it comes down to. I mean, if he's not going to incorporate Vipers, he has to somehow deal with the Sentries. The Sentries are the scariest part of this army, it's not even the Immortals.
Yeah, we're finally seeing, though, that good Zerg concave that is a force concave, but the force fields are preventing that from really taking effect here.
And this is a lone Colossus doing this amount of damage. The Photon Overcharge is slaying Hydralisks, it's slaying Roaches, and the Stalkers, actually the Stalkers are completely unnecessary. The Immortals still stand. Curtis, this is an unbreakable army coming out of Sage.
I don't know why, but every time I see Immortals doing work like this, all I can think of is just In Control, where it would used to sit there and be like, please come into death. And he's just sitting there pumping both arms, and it's just... It seems to be the iconic Immortal moment is when they can just sit there in the back and dish out huge amounts of damage.
You know, there's a little bit of troll mark there from Katz, but he makes a really good point about this. Ret has sat on layer for too long. That's why there's no Vipers on the field at this point. That's why he doesn't have the 3-3 or anything else to really just power through Sage with.
Yeah, we do see. And that's, as you said, power through Sage with. That's game breaking. Imagine if he could cut down a few of these Immortals with Vipers and then do a tech switch into Ultralisk.
Curtis, he has Corruptors coming out, and still, it's not even the Colossus that are this problem for him. They're a huge... they're an issue, there's no questions about it, but look at the amount of stalkers on the field. Those corruptors are going to die so quickly. The sentries are going to zone out the hydralisks. I mean, Sage, as long as he doesn't fight in the open, you know, as long as he's got this sort of concave here, or at the ramp, or anywhere, he's going to take this fight.
Yeah, and with the +2 on the units as is, it's just tearing through the Zerg force like a hot knife through
nice
butter.
blink forward. Does pick off another corruptor or two. Phoenix
The
is now coming back.
Phoenixes come back. And the engagement, good force fields once again from Sage, and he continues to do work. The Phoenixes are actually causing the AI to bug out on the Corruptors. Finally, all the Colossi are down.
But does it even matter? Look at the ground forces. Ret has nothing. He's trying to make 19 Hydralisks right now. These Spine Crawlers are going to go down so quickly to the Immortals and to the Stalkers. And you know what? Blink Stalkers alone are going to be enough to deal with this army. Forget the Immortals.
But we did see the end of all the Phoenixes, so now Brett doesn't have to worry about his Overlord rally points as much. We did see that the Colossi are all dead, so we can build more Hydralisks. And now Brett's going to push in here, and as we said before, Hydralisks do good versus the Gateway units. Let's see if they can pull it off here. +2 versus +2 attack from the Protoss, but it looks like Sage just has enough. Or
this
could
is
the remax on Roaches make it happen?
I don't think so, because the Immortals are still standing. Maybe if he had sniped off the Immortals, he could try a remax on Roaches and just overpower the Stalkers, but this game, with as much action that's been going on here, I still can't get over the fact that Ret is still on layer. GG is called.
And a really good game from both sides, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, Sage made so many smart decisions in that game. I know we're kind of putting a bit of blame on Ret there towards the end, but really, that was a lot of Sage's decision-making that kept Ret where he was. Can you imagine if Ret had not been pressured with those Phoenixes or not been assaulted and just been allowed to take 6 bases and go up to Hive? We could have seen a completely different game.
Very much so, especially knowing Ret and his droning abilities and is that boy love economy, as we saw with the 90 drones at some point.
Okay, guys, well, thanks for listening to the broadcast. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you later.